Welcome back, League fans. Game 3 of today's Academy League broadcast is coming right up with Clutch Gaming taking on FlyQuest. And this week, we're going to get our first look at Piglet back on the Clutch roster.
Yep, former world champion in NA LCS AD carry, as well as LCK. Expectations are pretty high for Piglet, and it's understandable coming into the Academy League. He has previously played in Challenger, but I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't look completely up to form right out of the gate. He has returned after spending some time in Korea for a family emergency, and so it's very understandable if he hasn't spent a ton of time playing League during that. We don't know exactly what's been going on, so he's a very great player, storied history, a lot of expectations, but don't be surprised if he's not quite at full potential today.
And the matchup isn't exactly doing him any favors either, with Clutch facing a FlyQuest who are grappling for the top spot here in Academy.
Yeah, all the players on FlyQuest are looking really good, all things considered, and the coaches in this organization are taking notice. Last week, we saw the support JayJ get some playing time in the LCS after a good week of scrims. He is back down in Academy this week, but it's proof that you can earn stage time, and that's a very real possibility for a lot of the talent in this league.
Well, let's go ahead and meet the teams. Starting on the blue side, it's Clutch Gaming with Maxtrobo here in the top lane, Moon in the jungle. Sun is going to be mid. Piglet showing up bottom, making that return to Academy League here, seeing what he can do on this squad, and Vulcan will be supporting.
Yep, and over on the red side, it's going to be FlyQuest in the top lane, No, Shrimp, and Keane in the jungle, the dynamic duo that's always together, and then the bot lane, Erry and JayJ.
And JayJ getting to move up and play in NALCS last week is such a great example of what these players are working for in Academy League, right? Academy League isn't about the glory and the titles and everything like that. Academy League is essentially a training ground for the next era of talent, that next wave of players to move up and get themselves ready for the biggest of stages.
And they're one of the few organizations that have a pretty big difference between the LCS performance and the Academy League performance. A lot of these guys feel like they're pretty mirrored across the board, but FlyQuest is one of the top teams here in Academy, tied for first place, and their LCS team is struggling to get into that playoff picture. So this is probably the closest you will see between orgs having some flexibility to move their players around. Stunton is a guy who's struggled to find consistent playing time, and it feels like FlyQuest are open to seeing if some of the success here in Academy League is due to JayJ and seeing how he performs with the rest of the FlyQuest main roster.
Well, let's see how JayJ and the Academy team can perform here against Clutch. 7-2 FlyQuest's overall record. Very impressive so far, as the bans for Clutch in the first round are going to be Ryze, Varus, and Gnar. So no Varus again, not 3 times in a row today. Camille and Zoe banned out by FlyQuest with 1 more still to go here.
Have to see what they do. And for Clutch Gaming, you know, struggling to break 500 right now, it's going to be a good change for them, I think, to have Piglet in this roster. A lot of Clutch Gaming's wins have come off the back of Moon kind of hard carrying the games, and it felt like they needed another threat somewhere, and hopefully Piglet can provide that once he gets into form exactly.
And Moon being one of the players who has been on an LCS starting roster before, a lot of people look at these players who have been on the main LCS stage as, okay, I'm looking at that guy to carry here in Academy, right? Like the guy who has the experience playing on the bigger stage, that's who you expect to make the bigger plays. And with having Piglet in there, especially not just in LCS, but like you said, LCK, world champion, this guy's got a couple titles on his belt. Hopefully we get to see him make some waves.
Yeah, and last time we saw him in Challenger a couple years ago, he was pretty good. So we're going to expect some good things out of him again. They went up against that famous Cloud9 Academy roster that ended up qualifying to the LCS and became FlyQuest later. But that was, you know, with contracts high and that kind of old roster. So it was a pretty good battle between all these old C9 veterans and Piglet in that kind of final. It was a really impressive thing to watch.
All right, the final ban this game, though, will be that Azir, so we won't see that one again. CG going to go ahead, lock themselves in the Ezreal first and foremost. FlyQuest responding with Alistar and Sejuani. Big front line for their first rotation, as Gangplank then immediately picked up by Clutch as well.
Yeah, a bit of a weird draft thus far. Ezreal priority is not quite as high after all those Kleptomancy nerfs came in. You would have expected the GP to be the highest thing in the draft. That doesn't go right away. And then FlyQuest don't even answer. They go support jungle first picks, which is not something you see very much anymore. There's so many priority picks in the solo lanes that you can grab. Ryze, Zoe, Azir, all gone makes that. So the mid lane doesn't really have one, but you still see it in the top lane there. And GP slips through, and then Clutch Gaming is able to grab Galio and GP, so they have a pretty strong powerhouse all ready for them.
All right, Galio is real scary in the mid lane these days. Used to, Galio was just this big meatball that would walk at you and taunt you and be really annoying. Now he's a big meatball that squishes you under walking at you and taunting you and being really annoying. So this champion always has some huge playmaking, some huge team fight capability. Tristana going to be locked in for FlyQuest. One of these big hyper carries that we've seen be the reason why games end the way they do.
Yeah, and there's the Evelynn pick, or ban, excuse me, towards Moon. It's one of those things that's interesting. I think Galio has a little bit extra synergy with the Clutch Gaming comp, or really any team that relies heavily on their jungler, probably true with 100 Thieves Academy as well, because it allows you to take that carry pick, go for aggressive invades, and post 6, that Galio can follow basically anywhere. His ultimate radius is not huge early in the game, but can pretty much reach anything in the jungle from mid lane.
Yeah, it's enough to hang around mid lane or the river, and when your jungler's flexing muscles on that enemy buff or just trying to get down some deep vision, you can say, okay, I can be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all you need.
Right, and that works great with a champion or a player like Moon, who is trying to get these big advantages for his team, who does have that extra carry weight on him. If he goes in 1v1s the enemy jungler, having a Galio at your back is pretty powerful.
Not a 1v1 at that point, it's a 2v1, which is exactly where you want to be. Unfair fights.
Yeah, those are the best fights.
We're not here to be honorable.
Yeah.
We're here to win.
Me and my boy's gonna run up on you.
Yeah. Gonna run up on them in their own jungle. But second part of the bans now out of the way. It's Evelynn and Braum banned out by FlyQuest. It's Cassiopeia and Victor banned out by Clutch Gaming. A lot of respect being paid there to the mid lane and Keane as they grab Ornn on the side of FlyQuest, and Clutch will decide to respond with Taric and Jax.
Yep, grabbing that Jax pick, pretty good for Moon most likely. It is a pretty meta carry jungler. You can build that Tri-4 second, which is what you probably expect out of Moon. And then it goes and becomes a bit of a mid-game threat where he's tankier than a lot of champions in the game. So if he gets onto a backline, he's threatening while still having the damage to back him up. And then Keane always being a huge threat on the standard control mages. You see a lot of Ori play, the Cassio, Azir, Victor, all things completely in his wheelhouse. So those all taken out.
And the final pick on the side of FlyQuest, the Alistar. So more frontline, more engaged for these guys. That is a scary amount of frontline and initiation. You got an Ornn, a Sejuani, and an Alistar all on the same team, and Tristana's the cannon in the back.
It's a really weird team comp against Clutch Gaming's where they only have one backline threat really in Ezreal, and he's pretty mobile, so it's like, can your frontline even get to him? Maybe it's focusing on the GP, because otherwise you have a Galio. And he's just shooting his Winds of War, and he's a pretty tanky guy. So it's a huge engage comp on a very mobile and hard to lock down team comp from Clutch. You might see just a lot of dog piles on top of each other with Jax jumping in with a Galio and then all 3 tanks of FlyQuest responding. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Well, we've had some bloody ones so far today, Mark. I don't exactly want to see it change anytime soon. And you know, you mentioned how the draft seemed a little weird there at the start because of the Ezreal priority, because of how he dropped off, but it was like Clutch was like, no, this is the champ we need. And you can't help but think, yeah, that's because of Piglet. That's because this is his return. They want to make sure that they put him on the champion that he thinks he can carry on, that he's the most comfortable with. And if that's the champ you want him on, man, having the Galio to protect him, having the Taric to protect him, you're putting it in his hands to carry.
I think it's also good in the sense where Ezreal is one of the more independent AD carries. You don't need your team to peel for you. They can kind of do their own thing. And as Piglet is coming back for the first time this week, his coordination with his team might not be 100% on. And so you have that extra opportunity to let them continue playing their style of game. And you're like, hey, I'm Ezreal. I'm pelting Qs. I don't need much help. I'm going to play my game as well. And so it does require a little less coordination than something where you used to see Tahm Kench and Kog'Maw, and you really need that synergy built in.
Same story with Tristana. Honestly,
right.
I mean, this is a champion, 2 different escape mechanisms. You can jump away or knock the other guy away, or hell, you can do both if you have to. Both of these AD carries capable of being that autonomous threat, whether or not their support is right next to them. There is plenty of protection on both these teams, though, so either AD carry could end up being protected to the degree that they're allowed to carry this game. But this is often a matchup that we've seen go where even if Ezreal has a successful early game, if the game gets dragged out, as we've seen so many incredibly long games in this recent meta, if Tristana gets to 6 items and Ezreal gets to 6 items, the damage output comparison between the two isn't close.
No, absolutely not. This is a game where you would figure Clutch want to get it over with relatively quickly. I mean, the Gangplank will be a big threat as the game goes on, but we've seen that despite AP Galio's damage being no joke, it is a little bit difficult to execute on in the late game. Obviously, like you just mentioned, between the 280 carries, Shrimp will be a better tank than Moon, all things considered, so I would figure late game team fights favor FlyQuest, but GP is always a bit of that X factor. He can easily win one fight all on his own.
Remember, FlyQuest, we're telling a similar story about these players compared to what we were telling about Optic and Golden Guardians at the start of the day. I mean, when the team is doing this good in Academy, but their counterpart only doing around middle of the pack in the main LCS stage, there's a distinctly larger opportunity than there may be on some other squads to prove yourself here and be able to step up to that main stage, like what we saw from JayJ.
And that's also why FlyQuest just generally has been the team with the most movement. They put Shrimp in for a little bit to see if there's anything going on there. Didn't really like that combination because they wanted to see how Shrimp and Keane, a lot of success in the academy, a lot of success over the course of their careers on Dignitas and different things. Didn't quite work as well on FlyQuest Academy, and now that we've seen Fly for a weekend, he looked really good during his debut. You can expect him to kind of have that starting job for the next couple weeks, and that means Ornn's got to be in the jungle, but hey, maybe JayJ steps up. Maybe in the future, Erry gets a chance over Turtle if he starts slumping or something, though that seems pretty unlikely given how well Turtle's been doing.
That is true, that is true. We'll have to see who among these guys can step up and have that big performance this game, if any. If you ask Clutch Gaming, they don't want any of them to be able to step up. They just want to wrap this one up, like you said, nice and quick with a bow on top and send it home, get themselves a win that would put them at the perfect win-loss ratio, that flat 5-5, 500 record.
Not perfect.
Not perfect.
From
perfectly,
the team's perspective.
Perfectly even. Not perfect from their perspective. Perfect from their perspective. They're a little ways off of that one, but perfectly even, I should have said. Bad choice of words there. Lack of one word in the sentence, rather. Both junglers hanging around this top side. Moon farming up, Shrimp doing the same. Like you said, we could see that Trinity Force build come out from Moon around the mid-game here in this one. Very effective on Jax if he's just building a Trinity Force and Cinder Hulk. I mean, that's health. You get resistances from your ulti. Congrats, you got the full package.
Yeah, and given that his team has some other frontline available with the Taric, with the Galio, they won't need him to be that full tank Jax that we have seen at times. No one likes seeing it, but sometimes you need to do it if your team's only tank.
Yeah, you build the Cinder Hulk, you build the Warmogs.
Yeah.
We want to see a Trinity Force. We want to see people getting smacked with a lamppost, Mark.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what we want to see. What we don't want to see is a GP down 15 CS already. He was struggling to CS under turret. Maxtrobo definitely coming out worse for wear in this matchup. Not the easiest matchup in the world, but not the worst either, so you would expect to see a little bit more out of him.
Stun comes through there from Vulcan. Not really much damage to follow it up with, though. Piglet happy just farming up for now, but you can say the same thing for Erry. Again, the later this game goes, the more Tristana is going to be favored. The bigger her damage output will be compared to Piglet. Piglet's going to have the advantage early on when he has his Sheen evolution plus his Muramana, but after you get 3 items on Trist, everything past that is just more and more Tristana favored.
There are a couple like weird power spikes you have to be careful. Like if you get a 1300 gold back and Trist comes with a BF sword, and as Ezreal you have like Tear and maybe like some boots and a long sword or whatever else you're gonna get, and you're not quite strong enough to really match up as a Moon.
This is audacious.
Yeah, he has bot lane priority, so it looks like they're gonna move in here, get the shield,
I like
get the heal.
You bring in your support, you've got the heals there. They'll grab this early Infernal for themselves. Nobody ever expects it, Mark. Nobody ever plans on you taking that Drake that early, but Infernal is the Drake to motivate people to do it.
Yeah, so a bit of a risk there by Clutch, but they play it correctly. They get that Dragon free early on, and they got a great team comp for using this. They have 4 members who are going to benefit from extra AD and AP. Jax has that kind of interesting thing where, hey, Infernal is giving me resists as well when I use my ultimate.
Yeah, Jax is, I mean, he's one of the best champions in the game, period, for that Drake. So.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty happy. Galio, Gangplank, and Ezreal all make great use of it.
Moon walks up to the brush where Keane and Shrimp were waiting, but he did smell something a little bit funny going on. Good for him that his senses were alert on that one, not walking into certain death. Still no first blood 6 minutes into the game, but a lot of times we don't see first blood happen super early these days. 300, 400 gold lead here for FlyQuest Academy. And a big chunk of that mark is here in the top lane. Gangplank has fallen just tragically far behind, 27 to 53 in farm. Whoa.
Yeah, we talk about how Gangplank is a champion who can fall behind and be okay with it, but usually you're talking about 20 CS around the 10, 15-minute mark. This is only encroaching up on 7 minutes into the game, so he's definitely getting pushed around a little bit more than he really would want to be.
Nice auto attacks weaving in there along with the brittle coming out from No. That's one reason why Ornn is just so effective against these melee matchups, right? I mean, he breathes on you, he puts the brittle, and then he attacks you with the auto attack that knocks you away, so it's hard to retaliate. Just makes life a little bit difficult. Maxtrobo trying to put the barrels up there. We'll have to see if he can get to the point that Dokla got to in game number 1 where you're hitting those 1376 crits.
Yeah, it's also interesting because in some of the squishier carry matchups, the Q harass that comes in from the GP with a Sheen can be pretty annoying.
Yeah.
But it's not so bad for a champion that gets a pretty low cooldown shield whenever he presses W. So it actually makes the trading pattern pretty sad for Gangplank, and I'm not sure you want to go for the kind of build that he does with that relic shield to get the extra Q gold on the enemy, because you're not really poking out the enemy in this instance. So I'm not quite sure it's as effective here. As you see when you play against the Gnar and then mini form, those Q Sheen procs actually hurt a fair amount.
Yeah, it turns out spammable shields are pretty good. So for the Ornn, he's sitting in a comfortable spot right now, 72-43 in the CS department, working towards that Righteous Glory first item. Going to allow him to be yet another engage tool on the side of FlyQuest Academy. More damage coming out, smack him again, knock him up into the air, the headbutt, blows the Ornn horn, another brittle, airborne, more damage. Stopwatch-a-thon, Maxtrobo trying to get himself away, no pops the shield, but Keane swoops in from behind just to say, hey buddy, thanks for the assist, I'll take it from here. One threaded volley to grab the kill.
Great coordination by FlyQuest Academy. No starts that one off. He's going to get a lot out of that trade initially, and you think, all right, well, he's just forcing a stopwatch. He's making some good plays. Keane was actually rotating up that entire time, was able to get involved there, and Sun not able to match the roam. This is partially why you take the Galio at all with the Gangplank, is to protect him from those kinds of situations, but not able to get there. Keane did sack a mid-wave to allow that to happen. You see right now, Sun has that one under the turret, but you're more than happy to get a kill on a GP who's going to be down nearly 30 CS.
Sun clearing up this mid-wave, trying to push in during Keane's absence. I mean, he's got a small CS lead for himself, but that kill is more than worth it for FlyQuest Academy. Keane's Taliyah with Mercury treads before anything else, wanting to be able to avoid the CC and the magic damage from both the Galio and the Jax as we see how this fight happened top.
Yeah, Maxtrobo just takes a little bit too much there. He actually kind of pathed back into the Ornn ultimate to get the first stack on it so the knockup lasted a little longer. Either way, probably dead, as Keane had, like we said, roamed up around from the backside. So really not much you could do in that situation. Goes down, now 30 CS behind. It's going to be a really tough game here for Maxtrobo.
Yeah, Max is all aboard the struggle bus. Unlucky for him, No is the bus driver, and the bus ain't stopping anytime soon. He's going to be a very big impact in these fights. Sheen for No, actually. A lot of the time you see that Glacial Shroud turn into a Righteous Glory, one of the staple items for Ornn, but it looks like the Iceborne Gauntlet is the choice here instead.
Yeah, I guess he forgets what champion he's playing. He's having a good time bullying around this other carry. He's like, yeah, I'm in a carry versus carry matchup.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to beat him up.
Let's hit him harder, get these procs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too uncommon to see the Iceborne Gauntlets. It does work pretty well with his kit. Like we were talking about, spammable W. He is getting a lot of those procs off versus the GP, so this will be good for him to bully out even harder. And it does feel a little bit like we're in extended laning phase time here. I don't know if you feel the same way, but no turret has taken...
I'm getting those vibes.
No turret's taken that much damage yet.
Getting those vibes. 11 minutes into the game, one objective has been taken, and it was that Infernal Drake that went down 5.5 minutes in, thanks to Moon's sneaky moves. Next Drake's an Infernal as well, Mark, which means hopefully we're going to get to see some blood over that one. It'll be spawning here in just over half a minute, as No has relegated Maxtrobo to sitting under his turret duty. Not a fun duty to be on.
That's what top laners love, from what I hear.
That's all the rage these days. Sitting under the turret, watching your opponent farm.
Yeah.
Good times, man, good times. But bottom side, it's Clutch Gaming taking control of the River Vision game, setting up a couple of their own, knocking down the enemy, putting some in the enemy jungle as well, just to make sure they're aware if anybody tries to rotate around. They want to try to get this second Infernal. We already talked about how well it synergizes with their composition. Have to see if they can do it. FlyQuest Academy, not if they have anything to say.
Yeah, Clutch Gaming was able to get there first. They have a ton of vision down in this river, but it's going to be hard for them to actually contest the Dragon, given the TP disadvantage they have up in the top side there. Maxtrobo TP back after that dive. No just ran back, so it feels really hard for Clutch to want to contest this. GP ult can help, but I don't think you want to take a 4v5 when you're already on the back foot a little bit here.
No, it's a bit of a risk. So FlyQuest Academy get to tie that up in terms of the bonus damage you're going to be getting. Now, let's talk team comps real quick, because it's not quite as good for the FlyQuest team as it is for what you've got over on the side of Clutch.
Yeah, Triple Tank not going to make the most use of that bonus AD and AP.
Hey, Ornn's a bruiser now. He got an Iceborne Gauntlet.
Oh, excuse me, you're right.
2.5 tanks.
It's It's got all those great ratios.
Yup. I looked at Ornn one time because somebody told me, they were like, what do you think about lethality, Ornn? I was like, I don't think so, bud.
I used to play Bloodthirster top Leona, the auto Q auto.
Oh yeah, the auto Q auto combo.
Oh
just so you
yeah.
can get those sick auto attack resets in there.
It was crap.
I played Phantom Dancer Katarina in Season 1. There's a reason I have that Bronze Season 1 trophy, Mark.
Oh yeah.
But let's see what happens here in the bottom lane. Piglet and Vulcan. JayJ and Erry stuck under their own turrets now. Piglet dead even with his opponent in terms of that farm. So these guys just going blow for blow. Again, though, Tristana absolutely fine playing that game. Mid lane, very similar in farm as well. Jungle has a lead there for Shrimp. Top side, same old song and dance. No, continuing to build that lead.
Yeah, but Shrimp wants to take this turret down. He's had enough of this laning phase. Going to drop Shelly up in the top lane here. And GP does have the ult to clear out minions, which works pretty well, but does not work that well against Shelly, all things considered. So you see him not even bothering to try. Going to kind of sack that bot lane turret, as there's no way for Clutch Gaming's, or excuse me, sack the top lane turret, because there's no way for the bot to match as quickly as they'd want to.
FlyQuest Academy get themselves out of objective. They both decide to get the hell out of dodge. Shelly's going to be the one who's used as the sacrifice to just waste Maxtrobo's time, as he'll grab the extra little bit of gold from that one as a play. Sets up bottom side. Moon coming in here for the dive onto Erry. The Gangplank ultimate will rain down from the sky. Taric ulti used. The dive comes through. The turret goes down. The fight breaks out. Piglet in some trouble here. Erry looking to put the kill blow onto him, but Moon once again going for the counterattack. Sun off to the side looking for the winds of war, and Erry will go down to Maxtrobo. Sun now going after that taunt. Not quite going to find it. No, drops to Piglet.
Huge Taric ultimate there to keep Clutch Gaming alive through that dive. The turret was low. It was huge that Piglet was able to finish it out. JayJ.
Oh, JayJ actually goes down to Piglet. Wow.
Getting a little greedy with that recall there.
All right.
If it wasn't good enough for them already, why not give them one more? It's a
3-0.
Yeah.
Woo, that's a swing.
Yeah, with that, it looks like they're going to keep pushing down this ball lane. Actually going to get 2 turrets off the back of that play. All right. Big mistake by FlyQuest. Throws this game right back to Clutch Gaming Academy.
Clutch Gaming Academy now in the lead by over 2,000 gold. Maxtrobo grabbing some of that money for himself, completes his Trinity Force. Feels good, man.
Gets a Hex Drinker on top of it, so going to go a long way to help making this 1v1 that he was struggling with a lot more tolerable.
If you're FlyQuest, you've really got to reassess kind of what you're doing in these fights here. Especially that last death from JayJ was just completely unnecessary.
Yeah, so Clutch Gaming, they had Erry very low for a long period of time. They should have known this dive was coming. Not quite in position to counter it out. And so that Taric ultimate negated so much damage. Ornn actually had a great ultimate and E combo, but it was on protected member, so no damage came through. Sun is just zoning away this entire time. Shrimp finally shows up. By the time he gets there, the fight's already over. 2 people are dead. It was a 4v5 for pretty much the entirety of it. And then JayJ, just recalling in the brush, doesn't realize he got stopped. He had no idea. He got Mystic Shot by Piglet, and he just keeps sitting there. Maybe it was a next level mind game. Like,
caught in the shop.
Maybe he was like, I hope he doesn't notice that hit something. But Piglet's a world champion. He's gonna notice that.
I'm just gonna sit here and hope he has the audio off and didn't hear the thunk noise when the Mystic Shot hit the brush.
No, more likely he was in the shop, like you said.
We've all been caught there before.
Yeah.
All right, Clutch Gaming Academy. Now that they've got themselves that gold lead, let's see what kind of momentum they can swing with it. Trying to get some vision down in the enemy jungle. You can see, though, looking at the itemization from Moon, no Trinity Force. Going for the Kindle Gems, so likely that Cinderhulk Warmogs Jax that we
Resident
see sometimes.
Sleeper. You have a Galio. You got a Taric.
Yeah, you got protection, man.
You got all these defensive steroids. You got a
Don't break my heart like this, Moon.
You got an Infernal Drake. Build a Triforce.
All right, maybe he still will. Maybe he just wants some extra cooldowns, but I'm going to put my money on the Warmogs. We'll have to see. What? Yeah, Triforce gives you 20% cooldowns. I mean, I'm always going to advocate for Triforce, Mark. You know me.
Yeah.
29,000, 27,000. Clutch Gaming Academy, the 4 and 5 team looking to hit the break-even point up against the 7 and 2 FlyQuest that are still in contention for that first place spot. Let's go back to the conversation that we were having earlier in the day about the playoffs and how when you've only got 4 spots, being in the middle of the pack isn't good enough anymore. Middle of the pack's fine when it's a 10-team league and you can get in on 5th or 6th, but you've got to make that extra little bit of a push to get into 4th place. And for Clutch Gaming, every win's going to be that much more important to make sure you can crest that line.
And you can already see how important it is to have Piglet on this lineup, as we see No looking for a bit of an all-in here. Taliyah roaming down, trying to get involved in this 2v1.
All right, let's see if they can make the repeat from earlier. 2 solos versus a single solo means Maxtrobo is out of there. Dive coming in topside. Vulcan ulti being used to endure more and more turret damage. JayJ likely going to be run down now. He's already lost his AD carry. The stun's not going to hit the mark, but the double kill will from Moon. Doesn't even need the Trinity Force. Still has enough damage with that lamppost to grab himself the kill. 5-2 overall for Clutch Gaming, and they're pushing down the top side.
Perfect for the point I was about to make about how Clutch have that extra help now in the form of Piglet. Another pressure point on the map. Moon does not need to carry super hard. He's still likely one of the best players on the roster. And there you see 2-0-2 for Moon, 2-0-3 for Piglet. All the plays about the bot lane dives as Piglet and Vulcan are able to win this 2v2 bot lane. It's a huge upgrade for them to have this kind of extra advantage, and they're playing to it. And you see that dive come in. The GP ult just way too far back, but it is kind of cutting off the escape should it happen. He knew he was going to die. No need for that on his side of the map, so he just throws that on that part, make it so that this dive is all but guaranteed. And there you go, why that Taric pick is so powerful. They get that kill. And this is another talking point about how one of the things top laners don't like about the game is they feel like their lane is less consequential, but that's kind of just the numbers game on the map, you know? Bot lane has more people around it, so if you're going to be trading dives off, it's much better to get 2 kills instead of 1.
Now, speaking of top lane, I want to get your opinion on something here. We've seen pretty much the staple Gangplank build these days be Trinity Force Sterix because of the way Sterix allows the champion to survive burst. It makes his Qs that much stronger. The base damage proc on the Trinity Force also applying to the barrels, making his AoE potential stronger. The Hex Drinker into what looks like full Maul of Malmortius build coming out here for Maxtrobo removes Sterix from your build because the 2 items can't both proc at the same time. Thoughts on this?
I like it.
You like it?
Yep.
The adaptation.
I think it's something that you've seen some other people do too, and situationally, it's very good. Here, he's going against magic damage tank in his own lane, a jungler magic damage who's coming in for ganks, and a roaming mid laner who is also magic damage. So, by and large, the only kind of damage you're taking, unless you're getting auto-attacked by the AD carry, is magic damage. It's a very efficient item for that. Can maybe help you survive long enough for a Galio to come over and save you if you're going to match the enemy's roams, which, all things considered, Sun has not done a great job of doing, but it's a great item for those kinds of situations. You saw Haunter go for it in his previous game, but he did it when the enemy team had a mid lane Fiora, and he was up against a Vladimir. So that's a time where I wouldn't recommend it. Yes, it's great against your laner, but then the enemy team switches your matchup, and you're against...
We saw how that worked out.
Yeah,
we saw how that worked out.
Haunter has some struggles with that MR not doing much against a Fiora.
All right, Moon working more and more towards that Warmogs of his own. Looks like he will go to complete that item next. Abyssal Mask done onto Sun to multiply some of the magic damage his own teammates are doing, as those very same teammates decide to start up the Cloud Drake for themselves. Sadly, not another Infernal, but that extra move speed means better rotations back and forth between the lanes. And when you are ahead 4,000 gold, like Clutch Gaming is, having that extra rotation speed, being able to catch your opponent off guard even for a second or two, can help you build that lead.
Yeah, and I'm going to be curious to see how Clutch Gaming actually is able to extend their advantage, because mid lane turret's the only one left up at the outers, but you're up against the Taliyah, who has fantastic wave clear. It's already past 20 minutes in the game, so, you know, Baron's now a threat. Rift Herald's been taken and used by the enemy, so how they actually break more of this map open is one of the biggest difficulties that teams run into the competitive game. Just how do you force that down? Dives around the mid lane are very hard to execute, so we'll have to see.
Moon almost able to grab the control ward there, but his opponents show up in time to stop him, and that just means more vision that he can't quite deny from his opponents, a little bit more control that FlyQuest are able to hang on to here in this game. They're trying their hardest to not be relegated to their own half of the map. They're trying to maintain that neutral territory, not allow Clutch to just run away with this game. Clutch will try equally hard, though, to push them back into their own side of the map, having 3 turrets for themselves. That's sort of the game plan now. Maxtrobo, who was struggling earlier, now up to a point on this Gangplank where he feels comfortable pushing up. He's not as worried about nose damage on that Ornn, even though he's got the Iceborne Gauntlet, the Abyssal Mask, these items that offer both tankiness and damage. Gangplank with the Maw and the Trinity, more than happy to go up against that.
Yeah, much stronger of a build for his lane matchup. You see how that's benefiting him. And now with that extra priority, Maxtrobo was able to roam around, get this triple barrel off, and force them away from that mid lane turret. So that's how they tackle that problem. Set up the 1-3-1, get the priority in the side lanes, and collapse to that mid turret. Textbook execution that a lot of teams often struggle with.
Good rotations from Clutch Gaming end up putting them in a spot where they now got the 5K gold lead. Things are looking good for this squad, building that lead slowly but ever so surely. Piglet that you saw on your screen right there, we talked about how this guy's making his return this week. They got high hopes for him. Could this be what helps Clutch break into that upper echelon of the rankings? 2-0-3 right now, up 40 CS over his lane opponent. He's looking good, Mark.
Yep. Sitting in brushes, attacking enemy junglers, being a nuisance.
That's exactly what I want to see out of my Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those champions that the more annoying he's being, it's likely the more effective he's being.
Yeah, the more annoying he is, the more of his job he's doing right.
And you see them getting this vision control down, contesting red buff. Still maybe a little bit too early to brute force a dragon, or Baron, excuse me, so good to see them focus instead on this jungle skirmish.
The cavalry has arrived in the form of JayJ's Alistar. Buff, I believe, secured there by FlyQuest.
Yeah, I think Erry picked it up despite the smites.
Sun pushing up in the top side here. We already talked a bit about how his rotations haven't been able to keep up with Keane here so far, but now it's Keane and Shrimp trying to collapse onto him. They'll immediately give that one up. Moon in the top side would have been able to make that a 2v2 on time, and I don't think you want to take that 2v2 if you're FlyQuest Academy.
Nope, definitely not. Also, the mid lane had been pushed out by Clutch first, so Piglet and Vulcan could have made their way up there as well, and I don't think, like you said, FlyQuest wants that 5v5 up on the top side.
Yeah, it's not a fun one. Not exactly a situation that you want to say, yeah, we chose that. They'll continue to push up the mid lane for now. Baron's still live. A lot of pings coming down onto it right now from the side of FlyQuest Academy saying, clear this vision out, make something happen here, force them to answer this. Hanging out in the pit, clearing out all those wards, saying, all right, are we doing it? Are we doing it? That's what we're going to make them wonder. They're not actually doing it, though.
Nope. Maybe trying to get someone to face check them, but doesn't actually work out. Gotta say, I like Piglet's build, going with the Triforce instead of the Iceborne Gauntlets that we've seen a lot of Ezreal's opt to right now. Yep, Piglet ain't there to be a utility player. He knows he wants to do the damages.
All right. Maxtrobo trying to get away from this combo yet again. Keane and No just keep falling back to what's worked twice so far. Trying to make it work again. Now Sun's come in though. Here's those rotations we were looking for, Mark. Keane shut down.
Finally, Maxtrobo gets the help in the side lane. We knew that's what the Galio pick was there to do, but so far Sun has not been able to really match. Takes the teleport, and this time it's able to help out.
Now Moon might have got caught out a little bit here in the mid lane. Instead gets himself away just fine thanks to the Taric. Erry trying to sidestep the True Shot Barrage, does so just fine. Piglet still looking to go forward, find even more. Arcane shift so aggressively. He knows he's got his team behind him. He's got no fear. JayJ and No trying to come in on the flank. Both going to be taunted up. The CC comes in. The Sejuani ulti trying to buy enough time. Clutch Gaming going to be forced back, but they've definitely won out in this fight so far. JayJ hobbling away with just a sliver of health.
And man, that almost turned completely for FlyQuest. Clutch Gaming still feel like they've done enough to force this Baron. They did chunk out most of the members of FlyQuest Academy, but this is very dangerous. We see Sejuani wrapping around the top side. They have eyes on him.
We've seen one Baron steal already today in a very similar situation, Mark. FlyQuest Academy want to make it 2. Over the wall goes Piglet, trying to find the damage here onto Shrimp. He's going to be stunned up. The damage from Erry may or may not be enough. They do take Piglet down, but they lose their own jungler in the process. The Baron steal not going to be happening here, but Clutch Gaming is going to be taken very low. Erry's in there with the triple kill. The damage coming through. Vulcan goes back over the wall. They're going to get a quadra for Erry's Tristana. They'll pick up the Baron with it. You don't need the smite steal to have the throw. FlyQuest Academy, the momentum, the pendulum has swung.
And once again, it's off the aggressive nature of Piglet. He shifts over the wall. He wants to 1v1 the enemy jungler. Moon goes over the wall to help him because it looked like it wasn't going too well for Piglet, as Erry was also showing up then. And that's why You get 1 kill on Keane. Does not mean you're safe to force that objective. And now, Infernal Dragon also on the map. FlyQuest going to pick that one off the back of that throw there by Clutch Gaming.
All right, let's take one more look at how this happens. Piglet over the wall.
Yep, Piglet over the wall in the 1v1. The stun comes in from Sejuani, and Moon has to go over the wall. Otherwise, Erry would have got that kill faster. Now that Moon's over the wall, he can't get back. Erry gets a second kill, jumps into the pit, gets a little dicey here, but Keane has respawned, wrapped around the pit, shoves them all off them, and now that Baron that they had started off sitting at 3 KHP, just free for them to pick up.
Gift wrapped at that point.
Yeah, it was
ready to go. Name tag slapped on it.
Just not enough patience out of Clutch. They picked that fight in the mid lane. It went so close to going right for them, and it looks like they are not ready to let up on the aggression. All
right, FlyQuest Academy trying to not get themselves caught out here. TP going to be coming in. JayJ on the front line. The target at the start. Alistar ulti's going to keep him just fine, but if you're talking about ultis keeping you safe, Taric does the work. Vulcan grabs the kill and keeps the team in immaculate shape thanks to the ult. FlyQuest Academy on the run here. Clutch Gaming trying to make some moves happen. Their opponents have Baron, but they're down 4 versus 5.
And on the
likely going to be a 3 versus 5 here in a moment, and even less once their opponents catch up. Shrimp will go down to Piglet. They give that kill away. Oh, that was a little bit of a mistake there from Maxtrobo, going a bit too close. Erry still does a hell of a lot of damage on this Tristana. Keane trying to get himself away, stunned up by Moon there, a double kill for Piglet. Erry wants to get out, steps to the left of the Taric stun, but there's nowhere left to run. The bomb on Piglet's head, the heals are enough.
Nice answer by Clutch Gaming. Don't give FlyQuest Academy the time to take that Baron buff, set up a siege, go for a split push with Baron buff on. Just fight him again in the mid lane right away. Execute better this time, and without themselves split up around a Baron buff, you see the power of Clutch Gaming team's comp. Moon jumps in right away to kick that fight off. They had the backup by Sun, and then they also had the Taric ultimate. Just so many defensive steroids, like I was saying, that you can't actually win that fight. And then they get pinned up on the bot side of the map here, nowhere to go. Maxtrobo runs in range for a Q while his team was dealing with assassinating the jungler on the top side. He just had to sit there and wait for them to take care of that. Got a little ahead of himself and made this situation dicier than it needed to be, but Sun's able to live with a sliver of HP. Piglet almost goes down as well, but he's able to lifesteal off the creep wave, get some heals by Taric. And they win that situation pretty handily, and it keeps the gold lead at 5,000 despite how bad they had kind of lost it with the Baron buff.
Now, one thing I want to take note of real quick here, I've got to reference something that I said earlier about the power spikes and the comparisons and everything along those lines. We've talked about how Piglet's had a good game for himself so far, but I also mentioned that 3-item power spike for Tristana and how that's kind of the break point that we always talk about on this champion. That's where Erry's at. So keep eyes on Erry. If this game goes the way of FlyQuest Academy, it's going to be off the back of this guy's damage in the team fights. So that's pretty much the name of the game for both these teams right now is if you're Clutch, can you play around it?
Right, and he needs about 200 more gold to pick up his last Whisper. There's not a ton of armor on the side of Clutch Gaming, but you still want that to really hit your power spikes. So going to be grabbing that one in just a second here, and then he'll have no problem chewing through Moon. Unless there's a Taric ultimate on top of him and he's not taking any damage at all. So there's still that concern in these team fights.
All right, Ornn ulti making its way on to multiple people. Clutch Gaming Academy having to back themselves away right now. Ornn ult is also on an incredibly low cooldown, especially when you've got that 40% CDR with the 3 items that No already has for himself. So that'll be up just momentarily. It's also the level 3 ulti. He's level 17 on this Ornn. So I believe that's like a 40-second cooldown, 36-second cooldown, something like that.
I think it's up a little bit after the nerfs, but it's still,
so probably like 48 or something.
Yeah, okay. But it's still, you know,
really, really low.
It's still inconsequential enough that you're fine throwing that out to protect the turret.
Top lane tier 2 under siege now, though. The last turret standing outside the FlyQuest Academy base. Nice lockdown onto Moon, who may be in some trouble, but Taric ulti will stop that right now. No getting himself away, taken down even lower than Moon was. Warmogs on both these guys will start healing them up momentarily. Turret goes down. Clutch Gaming, again, coming out with the win.
Oh man, you just see how strong the side of Clutch Gaming Academy's team comp is and how well they work at keeping one person alive. Taric can drop his shield, his heals, his ultimate down. Galio with his ultimate, it's going to keep anyone alive, basically. But FlyQuest do have the tools to outplay this. They have champions that can go force those out a little bit. You know, so if No starts the fight out with his Ornn ultimate, and then Keane can push someone back. They'll force out some of those defensive tools before then they re-engage again with Shrimp and JayJ. They need to play these fights very smart. It's very difficult to execute them. You need to bait the cooldowns out of Clutch Gaming before you really go forward and fight them.
Or hope that your opponents start Baron.
That happened once. They already got their one free Baron throw. We saw it in the other game as well.
Everybody gets one.
You get that one free
Spider-Man
Baron throw.
rules.
Yeah.
Everybody gets one.
But from here on out, you actually got to beat our team comp. We're done throwing.
All right. One throw per game. That's the rule. At least Clutch Gaming hopes so. FlyQuest would like to break that rule here today, but 32 minutes into the game, a 7,500 gold lead is nothing to scoff at. And Clutch Gaming, a big part of that gold lead there for their AD carry. Piglet up a little bit over 2,000 compared to his opponent.
Top lane, heyo.
Yeah, top lane. Welcome to Gangplank. Get bopped in the early game, completely smacked around, have a little bit of time to start farming up. Bada bing, bada boom. You're 3,000 gold ahead of your opponent with 4.5 items, if you want to count boots.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love the Phantom Dancer. It's a pretty popular GP item in the carry versus carry dueling focus matchup, but after he got the Maw of the Malmortius, I think you have enough defensive tools to be fine against the Ornn. You don't need to index further into the more split push focus. Could have been a Shiv, could have been something else. So I would not have minded seeing a different Zeal item, but he's strong, he's doing just fine. Hard to criticize it too much.
Whoop. Blow the horn. Here comes Ornn. Sun's still getting away. A lot being committed for this, for a whole lot of nothing so far. Will they still catch Sun here? They kind of need to make this worthwhile. Seismic shove misses. Sun just punches away. The Gangplank ulti will be used to provide covering fire so that Galio can get himself out. But it was still quite a heavy commitment.
Yep, they wanted to get the kill onto Galio. As you can see, oh, hold on.
Okay, Shrimp walks a little bit far up there. Stunned up, wants to get himself over the wall. As long as he does, the Warmogs will heal him right back up.
Yeah, I was about to say, the full AP Galio, as you can see, takes a lot more damage than you're used to seeing a Galio take getting helped by those Taliyah Qs.
Now Piglet, the guy in trouble. Keane deletes him off the face of Summoner's Rift, as now they might be able to find two. If they get Maxtrobo as well, this will be disaster. But now the fight rages elsewhere, up right above the red buff pit. The ulti comes through. Moon gonna be protected from that just for a moment. Tries to get himself away, but here comes Keane once again on the flank. The volley's being threaded, and Moon goes down. Vulcan and Sun over the wall, walking themselves away. Tragedy strikes twice around the Baron pit for Clutch Gaming as FlyQuest Academy move themselves in and take the big purple throw machine uncontested.
Yeah, Piglet having some difficulties in his first weekend back. Ends up flashing the wrong direction right on top of Keane, goes down. And kind of one of the hallmarks of Piglet is just being too aggressive. Not grouped up with his team here, is willing to take this 1v1 and then flashes the wrong way, gets blown up easily by Keane there as Maxtrobo was coming in. Maybe they could have won that 2v2 if they executed it properly, but they lose that. And those are the two highest damage dealers on the side of Clutch Gaming who went down away from the main team fight. We talk about how strong Erry is, and he's under no pressure on the top side from the rest of this fight, so he's able to chase in and get some kills. Keane grouping up after winning the other side. 3-for-0, and they'll get the Baron buff.
And that's part of the conversation that we were having about the Jax early on in the game as well, right? If you go for this Warmog, Cinderhulk, Stoneplate style build, you don't have that same threat that you normally think of when you look at Jax onto the back line. You're essentially just another big meatball. So when Erry's not really afraid of that anymore, it makes things hard.
Yeah, it means that they have to do a good job fighting around Piglet and Maxtrobo, or those guys need to do a good job of following up on their tanks. Hard to say exactly who's at fault there, but that's clearly not the ideal team fight. And as a result, FlyQuest starting to push down these objectives. They still have a ton of global gold standing on the map. They have this bot lane, they have the mid lane outer still up. And they can quickly get back into this game if they make good use of this Baron buff.
Last time they didn't. Last time they got caught out. Last time their opponents were able to capitalize, win a nice big fight, completely stall out that Baron potential. This time, might be a different story being told. Moon over the wall, gonna be jumped on. Now looking to go right back in. Sun coming in with the hero's entrance. JayJ on the front line, utilizing the Alistar ult, keeping himself safe. Taric ulti used as the Ornn ult swoops in, and Sun is down. Moon trying to get himself away. Maxtrobo and Piglet still critically alive as Erry only a couple hits away from death himself. No drops. FlyQuest Academy needing to get out of this one. Maxtrobo, seismic shoved right into his own demise as they managed to take Piglet down as well. Fantastic counterattack from FlyQuest.
Once again, Clutch Gaming just not showing the patience needed to win these fights. Maxtrobo had a fantastic GP barrel chain over the wall to chunk out both Erry and Keane and make it so FlyQuest had to fight that fight a lot slower. No got killed as a result because his backline couldn't follow up on them. But then after surviving that fight, rather than focus on wave priority and making sure that they're fine, they go and take the rest of that fight and end up losing it. Both Sun and Piglet and Maxtrobo all down. They're going to try and push, potentially end the game here.
Moon just trying to come around from behind, drag the minions away, prevent his opponents from shoving up into the Nexus turrets. He's still got a few more seconds on those remaining dead members. Moon trying to escape. Vulcan going to be providing cover with the stun. FlyQuest not wanting to overcommit on this when they get themselves back. But man, this game has gone from looking really good for Clutch Gaming to looking really sketchy.
Yeah, and I think you have to be a little critical of Piglet. These are kind of the hallmark plays he's known for. He loves to play aggressive, loves to look for the kills. And so here, Moon gets jumped on early, he goes flying in, but now it's not enough to just live forever in these team fights. You actually need to find a way onto Erry, and for the most part, he's untouched just by taking a fair amount of Galio damage there. But here comes Maxtrobo. He's going to find this nice barrel over the wall, the double crit you see on the back line, and all of a sudden they don't feel safe walking forward anymore. So No's going to go down. But just because you kill one tank doesn't mean there's not a bunch more. Shrimp's still alive. And then Maxtrobo walks too far forward. Keane does a great job hugging the wall there so he can throw that W down to get him. Piglet shifted over to try and find and assassinate Erry, but like you said, eventually Tristana outscales, and that has happened.
The outscale has occurred, the 6 item has occurred, but what has been occurring since the start of this game, that very first kill of the entire match, is Keane doing what he needs to do on this Taliyah, whether it's the rotation or the placement of the seismic shove. This man has been instrumental in FlyQuest Academy holding on and now taking control in this game.
Yeah, they have the double Infernal Dragon. They have the Ornn items being finished off here. You see 3 of the 5 members have an Ornn item, still working on the rest, but Shrimp might be a little out of position now.
Shrimp getting caught out. Sejuani very tanky, especially at the first couple of seconds, thanks to that frost armor. Ornn used to disengage. Again, the low cooldown, you don't really mind doing that to keep your jungler alive. Elder spawning 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm looking at Sun's build here, going Aftershock Galio, but going for the full AP build. Not sure how much I like that. Haven't done the math on it if you're going to
Aftershock is actually best on champions that only build damage and health. So if you're only building damage and health, Aftershock's super good because you get free resists.
Yeah, but you only build the Abyssal Mask for health, so you're not quite as tanky in that regard. Like I said, I'm not dismissing it right away, but I'm a little surprised to see it when there are other options that people often go for, like the Unsealed Spellbook defense.
Well, it's on to the Elder Drake now for FlyQuest Academy, daring Clutch Gaming to come and stop them. Taliyah ult will be used to make sure that that entrance cannot be cleaned from the side of Clutch. Moon wanting to go in, JayJ going to be keeping him away. Elder taken low and secured by Erry, of all people. Moon now in the front line. It's going to be Sun ulting in, but now he's the free fire target for Erry. Going to be taking down a couple more auto attacks. Shrimp the one to secure it over the wall. He goes to drop the ulti onto the back lines. Erry on a rampage, taken down below 25% now thanks to another big barrel. Maxtrobo doing his damnedest to try to stall this out, make things work. But after losing Moon, after losing Sun, things are rough here for Clutch Gaming.
Erry had a small moment of Tristana syndrome there, jumping right into the 3 members of Clutch Gaming. Almost got himself popped, but just not quite enough damage to finish him off there. He's able to get out after a good Elder Dragon Force. Moon does kind of throw himself in there and get in range for the Smite Seal, barely picked up by Erry, of all people. So who knows how this fight would have gone if they had lost it. But they grab it, they get the kill, and then they're trying to kite out. Moon's too low, though. Erry's going to be able to get the flash jump. And then here, the second follow-up was too far forward. Didn't feel like Clutch was quite ready for him to go that ham. Maybe they could have finished him off if they were more prepared for it, but a very scary fight there for FlyQuest Academy if they had lost that Elder Dragon.
I want to point out that Moon actually didn't get to smite in that whole thing. He dove in, Shrimp smites early, and then the auto attack from the Trist connects right after the smite, and Moon doesn't even get to use his. He dies with smite off cooldown. So, bit unfortunate on that timing. It happens to the best of us. Smite fights can be a real tricky ordeal.
I mean, just great communication between FlyQuest, jungle, and AD carry, really comboing that down. I doubt they really communicate.
Yeah. It's one of those things that afterwards you say, yeah, we totally planned that, right? It's like the Callista type thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you rend it. I just throw a random auto attack in. You know.
All right, it's gone from good to questionable to bad to worse for Clutch Gaming, as FlyQuest Academy now having themselves a 2,500 gold lead. They've got themselves that Elder Dragon burn. Baron is live for the 3rd time this game. 2 of those have now gone the way of FlyQuest. They're looking to make it 3. This is the one they're going to start up now with all their opponents alive. They're saying, look, you started it when we were alive. We're starting it when you're alive. The difference is you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, they had a lot of tools there to make sure that there was nothing Clutch Gaming could do about it. Not only do they do it extremely quickly, but Keane throws the wall out to stop anyone from coming in. And now, despite how well things have been going for FlyQuest Academy, and it feels like they have grabbed control of this game, it's important to note that any moment, Maxtrobo can be the hero. He can find the barrels over the wall. You get those flash auto cues off where you're able to get the trial by fire down and just blow up a carry. He still can make that play if they find the right look onto Erry.
It's not over until the Nexus blows up.
Absolutely, never over against the GP. So they have to be very careful. We've seen it before in Academy League where a full AP Galio does a surprising amount of damage to people. They kind of run through his Winds of War procs and get chunked out way below half HP. So there's still a ton of damage on Clutch Gaming Academy side. It's just that their comp has kind of been taken over at this point.
4 Masterwork items now done on the side of FlyQuest as well. The only person who doesn't have one is Alistar. I don't actually believe that any of the items in his inventory right now have a Masterwork version even available. So unless he builds a Masterwork compatible item for his final non-control ward slot, he won't have one. But everybody else, Masterwork Abyssal Mask, Masterwork Locket of the Iron Solari, Masterwork Hat, Masterwork Infinity Edge, all of these items.
The idea of a forged hat just sounds funny. Like,
just take this hat, throw it in the fire, smack it with the hammer a couple of times.
Like what, the buckle?
And it makes you a better wizard.
Okay.
That's how it works. Don't forget that the hat is built out of 2 sticks.
Yeah. We're in the world of League of Legends.
Yeah. It doesn't have to make sense. What doesn't make sense either is how quick Erry takes down these inhibitors. That one's already gone, as now the engage from Clutch Gaming looking to stop this FlyQuest aggro. JayJ here on the front line. Erry going to be taken down below half. There's Maxtrobo into the back line like you were talking about, Mark, but the shields are just too much, and Clutch Gaming, their attempt is going to be foiled right here. The ulti from Taric trying to stop these guys for now, but it's going to be Moon going down next. There's no way for Piglet and Vulcan to defend against this 2 versus 5. FlyQuest is on the victory march. Vulcan, now the one who's the target of all 5 members. A triple kill for Keane. And FlyQuest pushes onto the Nexus turrets. Only Piglet left standing with naught to do but watch the turrets fall. It was a rough way getting there, but 45 minutes into the game, it's FlyQuest who find the win.
Huge game there out of Erry, on that Tristana pick. Had a rough early game. Lots of dives came in, shut him down all game. But then once Clutch Gaming started making their mistakes, you saw how ready FlyQuest were to capitalize on those, all of them happening around that Baron buff.
The Baron was so critical in shifting the momentum of this game, and I think this game was a great demonstrator as to why FlyQuest is one of the teams in contention for the top spot. They play well together as a team. They keep cool. They have their eyes on win conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even while those bot plays were happening, it was usually as a result of something else happening elsewhere on the map. Keane was forcing plays onto that Gangplank, trying to hold him down, and Clutch Gaming were playing it well, all things considered, forcing down around the bot side. Both teams playing to their win conditions.
Exactly. We're talking about, oh yeah, FlyQuest did great winning, but let's not forget Clutch Gaming was ahead in this game for the longest time. A big reason thanks to plays like this 13-minute 3-for-0 in bottom lane.
Yep, so this one comes off the back of some pressure that Piglet had gotten, and they started getting JayJ and Erry very low, so they forced a dive down there. You see Shrimp running down bot lane, trying to get in range in time. It was a good counter TP, but the Taric ultimate just negates so much damage that allows Clutch Gaming to easily win this fight, so that by the time Shrimp gets it in there, it's too late. And then JayJ, window shopping, not paying attention, gets pelted by a couple Ezreal skills before he finally wakes up. Too late.
Definitely a win moment there for Clutch Gaming Academy, but all too often success is accompanied by tragedy, and that tragedy came for Clutch Gaming later on their first trip to the Baron Pit, where Erry gets himself a quadra kill and FlyQuest comes back into the game.
Yeah, it was a very close fight by Clutch where they almost killed multiple members of FlyQuest, but they couldn't quite do it. So Clutch Gaming starts the Baron off despite being in a 4v5 situation. They get collapsed on. They decide to turn off the Baron, but they're not actually able to find that kill. They die in that situation. It goes very ugly very quickly.
But then Clutch kind of gets control back. They kill FlyQuest afterwards. The game becomes very close at that point. It was Clutch favored for a long time, then it's close for a long time, and then towards the end of the game, we get to the point where FlyQuest are finally in control. They've scaled, they've got the masterwork items, and we see the final fight where they take the entirety of the game.
Yep, and there's the engage. They try and hop onto the back line. Erry gets chunked out to half HP, but they can't actually kill him. Maxtrobo goes in. See all those shields get popped, not able to find him. Taric ultimate too late, and also not on the right members. The front line already down, the top and mid dead. It's very easy for them to chase forward through the rest of this fight. Piglet trying his best to throw damage in there, but at this point, like we said, Ezreal completely outscaled, not able to match them, and it was a very scary game. Like you said, it was back and forth even after that first Baron throw. Right after that, Clutch Gaming forced another fight around mid lane that went in their favor. And then the next time they're around Baron, they make some more mistakes. So a very close game for Clutch Gaming, very winnable.
Close indeed between both of these squads. But now to hear a bit more about the victory, I'd like to welcome Erry to the broadcast via Skype. Erry, fantastic to be talking to you. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So about that game, it was a bit of a rough game for you where things started off very aggressive, where they kept diving you guys in the bot lane while your team was going topside more before you eventually stabilized and actually became the de facto carry for your team. What was your mindset like having the game start so poor and then becoming such a huge factor?
My mindset was like if we could hold till 40 minutes, then we might have a chance to win because I knew that Tristana can outscale Ezreal, and also we had Infernals and Ornn items upgrade.
So in this game, one of the biggest points that defined the entire flow of the thing was that first Baron fight. They're going for Baron. You guys are coming around from behind. You get a quadra kill for yourself. Tell me what the comms were like during that moment and how you guys orchestrated that big success.
Comm was like, Shrimp might be able to steal, but then we saw Piglet jumping in with Arcane Shift, so we just focused Piglet, and then I got a quadra kill.
Those are the best ones. You focus one guy down,
Yep.
Suddenly you get 4.
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
So talking a little bit about the FlyQuest organization, you guys have kind of had the most movement between the Academy and LCS rosters. How closely do you two actually work together, and what's the communication like between the teams?
Oh, we actually work together every day. Everyone's friends with each other, and we scrim in-houses a lot, so we didn't really have any trouble switching up the rosters.
So coming into today, this was the first week that Piglet joined up with the squad for Clutch Gaming Academy. This was his time to come back with that team and sort of make his debut here. How did you feel? How did you prepare knowing that you were going up against Clutch Gaming that now had Piglet on this team?
I personally felt really pressure in lane. I thought his laning was amazing, and it actually felt good laning against him because I only watched through his VODs and previous competitive games.
So I take it for you that's probably one of those types of things. I mean, this is a guy who's built quite a name for himself in competitive League of Legends, so going up against a guy like that, it's got to be a pretty intense situation.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It was a really intense situation, especially when they did bot dive. I was really pressuring, and he was poking every time when I went mid lane.
Well, you definitely kept your cool. You came back from the quadra kill in the Baron pit to being the big damage threat on your team. You guys had an amazing showing, an amazing comeback, and you really proved why you deserve to be at the top of the Academy standings right now. So thank you for doing this interview with us, and best of luck in the rest of the split.
Thank you.
All right, we've crossed the halfway point, but there is more League coming up. Stick around to see All-Star jungler Levi take to the Rift as he and the 100 Thieves take on Echo Fox. Don't you go anywhere. stopwatch-a-thon. Maxtrobo trying to get himself away. No pops the shield, but Keane swoops in from behind.
The turret was low. It was huge that Piglet was able to finish out. JayJ.
Oh, wow. JayJ actually goes down to Piglet. Clutch Gaming is going to be taken very low. Erry's in there with the triple kill. The damage coming through. Vulcan goes back over the wall. They're going to get a quadra. Erry still does a hell of a lot of damage on this Tristana. Keane trying to get himself away. Stunned up by Moon there. A double kill for Piglet. Maxtrobo, seismic shoved right into his own demise as they manage to take Piglet down as well. The ulti from Taric trying to stop these guys for now, but it's going to be Moon going down next. There's no way for Piglet and Vulcan to defend against this 2 versus 5.